Peace up, homies. We're back.
Hello.
Welcome to Vivian and Mike's Book Nook.
Mm-hmm.
Second episode. We're getting better and better. We're going to start doing more consistently episodes. So that's coming. So we wanted to kick it off our channel with a launch. Was 10 books to read before you died. We did 5 and 5 in a bonus book.
Mm-hmm.
Books I chose were On the Road by Jack Kerouac, 100 Years of Solitude, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Fire Next Time, James Baldwin, Autobiography of Yogi, Parananda Yogahansa, and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Hunter S. Thompson. We both chose Child of the Dark by Carolina Marie de Jesus. And then Vivian chose...
I chose A Separate Piece by John Knowles, Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt, Black Man in Red Cuba by a gentleman whose name I promise you I will get to, and Cold Mountain by Charles Fraser, as well as the plays of Gabriel Garcia Lorca, his trilogy, Yerma, Bodas de Sangre, and La Casa de Bernardo Alba.
Okay, so we're going to start out with 5 more books from me, 5 more books from Vivian.
Mm-hmm.
Books you should check out before you buy the ranch, buy the farm, whatever the phrase is. I'm going to start out with a book that's humorous because I read all the time, but books rarely ever make me laugh, ever. I believe the funniest character ever, Ignatius J. Riley in Confederacy of Dunces. Brilliant character, written by John Kennedy O'Toole, who wrote 2 books, and he died, and he was a professor at Tulane, and his mother found the manuscript, submitted it, and it became like a literary phenomena.
It's interesting that you said that the mother found his work and he had already passed on, because that is how the King of Horror, Stephen King, began his career. His wife found his manuscript of Carrie in the garbage. He was very upset. He was very fastidious. He didn't want to do this. He thought it was wrong. The both of them were writing, and the both of them were teaching at community college. And she said, listen, we have 3 kids. Bills have got to get paid. You can't be sitting here rewriting this draft 15 times, Stephen. So she sent it in without him knowing. And the response from the publishers was, they said, Mr. King, we read this Carrie book. It's great. We have a couple of things we want to change. Here is an advance. Let's talk. And that's how he got started. It was because of his wife.
Stephen King.
Yes.
11/22/63, his best book. All right. Vivian, your first book?
My first book, yes. Okay. My first book is Beloved by Toni Morrison. I love this book. I was introduced to it at home, but I really got into the book and studying the book when I was a senior in high school in our AP literature course. I think it's amazing, lots of symbolism. And as you all may know, she wrote the book, Toni Morrison, based on an article that she read about a woman who was enslaved in Ohio, I believed. Although, I'm sorry, she might have escaped to Ohio, forgive me, as she does in the book. And she, rather than be caught again by the patter rollers or the patrollers, she took her infant daughter and she dashed her head and she murdered her. Because to her, it was better that the child be returned to the spirit world than to experience the horrors of slavery. And that just echoed how, it was just a testament to how horrific this experience had to have been, because no person in their right mind murders their child like that. So, you're dealing with a horrible, that what they call the peculiar institution of slavery and its horrors. So the book is haunting, it is depressing, it's uplifting, it's, I said haunting, but I think it's really more phantasmagoric, just big, I want to throw in a big word in there.
I think Toni's Mount Rushmore
she is
of American authors with James Baldwin, Kurt Vonnegut, Thomas Wolfe. I mean, if you could throw in Steinbeck in there. But I would go, my second book, a utopian book. All we talk about is dystopian, post-apocalyptic. I live in New Jersey, which is definitely dystopia for sure. But I would say, I want to go with a utopian book to take me out of sitting in traffic on the turnpike, 3 o'clock on a Friday, or a parkway for no reason.
Or 22.
Or any road in this state, and there's construction everywhere. But Aldous Huxley's Island. Everybody knows about Brave New World.
Yes.
But Island is a rare utopian book by a thinker that was embraced by the counterculture, was embraced by serious scientific establishment. His family was pretty famous in that regards. George Orwell, they were linked. So Island by Huxley, utopian book. I would love to see it made into a movie. I don't know if there's any fried hippies out there that would make it, but that's what it would probably take. So, Vivian, what's your second book?
Okay, so my this is my second book. Yes. Okay, so Sandra Cisneros' Woman Hollowing Creek and Other Stories. So, why do I love Sandra Cisneros? She's the author that I wish to be. She writes a lot about quotidian life. I love vignettes. Short stories are my favorite genre. You know, prose is my favorite genre. She's a master storyteller. So in Women Hollowing Creek, you get little brief vignettes and some longer stories, but mostly short ones. And she is giving you snippets of the American Southwest and border culture, in particular what's going on in Texas and on the other side of the border in Mexico, and what it's like for women who were living in the 1950s and 60s and 70s at the time. I love this book because it's just like talking to an old friend, the way that her writing is. It's very comfortable. And I know when I met her, she said the challenge of being a writer was really to find your own voice, because until then, you know, she was a graduate student and you had this very starched, prescribed way of writing a particular work, and it was just very cut and dry, you know, very, very starched. And she had to say, "Oh, listen, nobody I know actually speaks like this when it comes to the academic world. But when you're writing your own voice and you're writing who you are and what you want your audience to have from you, that's a different thing." So that's what I learned from her, and definitely check out Women Hollowing Creek and other short stories.
Yeah, Cisneros is a rock star. I'm gonna go with a Russian rock star. Fyodor Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. Him and Tolstoy, two best writers ever out of Russia, probably. I give the edge to Dostoevsky. Crime and Punishment is flawless. It's perfection. It's a deep character exploration. And even though it was written over 100 years ago, it feels like it could be written now.
Right.
I mean, it's, you know, I would like to see it in like LA, where they allow you to steal like $900 worth of stuff. That might be pretty good, you know, that I guess there would be no punishment. No, it'd just be crime. Crime and no punishment.
A twist.
But again, Dostoevsky's Brothers Karamazov might be better, but I had to pick one. So I got to go with the big eye Fyodor Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment. Flawless. Just knocked it out of the park.
All right. And so the Great Russian Writers. And now we're going on to my third book, which is The Godfather by Mario Puzo, who's also the author of The Sicilian and The Last Dawn. Those two are wonderful books as well. Why do I like The Godfather? Well, I'm someone who grew up watching The Godfather at a very young age. And I mean, like, way too early. But I did see it. And I'm used to a particular copy of it, or version. I watch Coppola's version, because I had it on VHS, and that's the one where it's 1901 to 69 or 1970 or something, 71, and it just goes through chronologically. It shows the story from like when he was in Sicily, and goes until Mary Corleone's death, right? Her tragic death in Sicily, in the same place. So the story does come full circle. So why do I like the book? Well, I love the book because you get to see more about Vito Corleone. In the movie, you get to see a lot about Vito Corleone. That's true, but you don't see the inner machinations of his mind. And you don't get to see what motivates him. You don't get to see why he became who he became. So in Mario Puzo's book, you see more of that. And Michael, I know you mentioned that there's between the book and the movie, there's sort of a which one is better. I think that personally the book is better, and there are lots of different parts that they could have put in that movie for as long as it was, all three of them.
The book is better, and this book is brilliant. I just think the movie is so brilliant, artistic. Every scene, every line of dialogue. I'm not knocking Mario Puzo. I'm Italian, so I have a horse in the game, but I'm not in the mafia. I would do clerical stuff for them, but I don't think they would hire me. I'm not organized, and I bruise very easy, and I get startled very easily, like most startled person ever. So, but yeah, Godfather, I did read it. It is brilliant. One great book about the movie, Leave the Gun and Take the Cannoli. Yes. That was really good. I mean, Hollywood books are either great or horrific. My favorite Hollywood book ever is the Hellraisers about Oliver Reed, The Party and Richard Harris, Elizabeth Taylor, that Richard Burton. So that was pretty just for the partying.
Jake and Liz were amazing. I don't think there's going to be another Hollywood couple
Liz
like
could
them.
outdrink anybody in the history of
She
Hollywood.
could, but she had so many demons she was fighting. You know, I think that the one husband, was it Todd? That's the one she loved the best. And then
Is that the bagel guy or is that
I
Cher?
don't know.
Somebody married a bagel guy,
I don't know about
which
that.
is all good. I mean, I
I
like
don't know
bagels.
about the bagel guy, but
I have nothing
I think
against
after
bagels.
my Todd, that's the one that she loved the best, and she ended up marrying Eddie Fisher after that, and that was just a whole disaster. So,
Eddie
you know.
Fisher, oof.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Talk about not marrying
It's
up.
what it was.
No offense to Eddie Fisher.
Well,
but-
she was in mourning. You know, that makes you do very crazy. People do crazy things.
Eddie Fisher, that's drastic.
No, I mean, Eddie Fisher was
So,
popular though. He was popular.
We
All
love
right.
Eddie Fisher. This is dedicated to Eddie Fisher's
And
memory.
Carrie
But my
and
favorite.
Miss Reynolds.
Oh, Carrie Fisher.
No, that's her dad.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, that's her dad.
Yeah. I love Carrie Fisher. One of my favorite all-time people.
And one of my favorite movies from one of my other favorite writers, Nora Ephron, and that would be When Harry Met Sally. So, yes.
You don't want to meet Billy Crystal, from what I heard. Nasty.
Is he?
Oh yeah, he did a couple good things. He did Soap. He did that. City Slickers was okay.
City Slickers was amazing. I
mean, you know.
Yeah, I love City Slickers.
It's okay.
So what did I say? If you don't ever want to meet your favorite person, your favorite celebrity, because you may get them on a bad day, and then it just ruins your idea of who they are. They're people. They're going to have a bad day. And unfortunately, in our society, there's no such thing as off or a time when you don't approach a celebrity.
I think Norman Mailer might have been the toughest writer ever to maybe come across, because that guy could be
Could it be
pretty
very vicious?
wicked. But my fourth book, getting off Eddie Fisher, Carrie, that old crew, Isabel Allende, the greatest living writer, House of Spirits, magical
Certainly,
realism,
yes.
Latin boom. I believe that was the best
House of the
writers
Spirit.
movement ever. I think Mario Vargas Llosa died a few months ago.
Mm.
Isabel Allende became the greatest living writer. I think that's her best work. It's one of the greatest books I've ever read.
I'm thrilled that you chose that book because it is one of my favorites. I had to read it for school. I wrote a paper on it. She's amazing. She understands. Isabel Allende understands vulnerability, I think, better than any other writer, because when her characters hurt, she brings you to a point where you're actually hurting as well.
I mean,
She's very
I
good.
read like at least 12 of her books. They're all great. The one book was
are.
a little annoying.
Which one?
Her Life in California. Like, oh god, I
No,
love California.
people-
I don't mean to
yeah.
knock it. It comes across to me knocking it. Crime and No Punishment. I love California. San Francisco.
Everyone,
Grateful Dead.
Michael absolutely loves California.
Then you got Nate Dogg. I love them all. NWA, Nipsey, the whole crew. All right, so your fourth book.
Okay, I'm going to come back. My fourth book is Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys, the Welsh writer. Why do I love this book? It is the prequel to Jane Eyre by one of the Bronte sisters, and it is absolutely amazing because it's giving you a backstory to the mad woman locked in the attic who is a mysterious character. You know, this is Jane Eyre's paramour, the one man that she loves, his wife, and you get to see that she had this whole life in what I believe is Jamaica, way before she was sold, essentially, you know, and taken over to England. And she had a lot of freedom, and she was just an amazing person. She grew up as a Creole. Now, in this sense, Creole meaning anyone who was born in what was considered the so-called Old World, which was Africa, Europe, Asia. You had that heritage, but you were born in the Americas. So she was a white woman who was born in Jamaica, but she grew up there. So she's kind of like a hybrid character in a way because she's between those two worlds. And imagine going through all the things that broke her down, and stress and all this other, and the rest. And she's transported from Jamaica to the UK. So you have sort of a reverse triangle slave trade thing going on in a weird way. I think she's this white woman. She's taken from She's born instead of being born in Europe, she's born in the Caribbean, and then she's transported to her own hellish experience in England, of all places. So it turns everything on its head. It's an amazing book, beautifully done, very phantasmagoric. I loved it, and the movie's not bad either.
All right, my final book, I would say overall author-wise, Hermann Hesse, a German writer, fled to Switzerland during the Nazi occupation, was a pacifist, very deep with the hippie movement and the counterculture, even though he was dead by then or he was old. And but he's one of the heroes of the hippies. And I would go with Steppenwolf. Talks about the dichotomy. Everybody's like two people. You have the wild side, you have the tame side. So you could also go with Damien, Siddhartha. I just think he writes profound stuff, and it looks simple, but it's not simple. It's profound. It's kind of like Steinbeck, profound, but it looks simple, but there's a profound message.
Yes.
I've read everything Hermann Hesse. I just ordered a biography of his. So Hermann Hesse is mine, and for our final book, we're going to go to the Holy Land.
Yes, the final book on my list is called The Beauty Queen of Jerusalem, and it's by Sarit Yisha Levine. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the words. The name of the author. It did premiere, I believe, last year on Netflix. I saw the series. It's about 8 episodes long. They're about an hour apiece. An amazing, amazing, amazing series. I think they had 2 seasons, so maybe it was several years ago that it came out. And I've decided to read the book. Now, they did take a lot of poetic license with it because the book is doing one thing and the show is doing another thing. But essentially, it's following the trajectory of a Sephardic Jewish family that's living in Israel during the time of the Balfour Declaration. So we're talking about, I guess, the 1920s or so. And it follows their life from the 1920s and the Turks being overruling Jerusalem and the Ottoman Empire and all that, to the English coming in and taking over. And then it brings you from the 20s into the war, World War II, and you have the English telling that the Israelis, you need to come help us fight Hitler because these are your people we're trying to liberate. And you have that conflict. Okay, well, you're trying to liberate us, but you're in our own country telling us what we need to do and where we need to be. So there's a lot of political questions in it, and it focuses on, in the show, it focuses on more on the young matriarch who is trying to hold herself together in the face of war. She has a young brother that she takes care of, and he becomes a rebel, and he fights against the English. She has to marry a young man of means who has a very prominent Sephardic family lineage, but she's being made to marry him because her mother-in-law doesn't want her son to marry another woman.
Ooh, forbidden love, the best love of all.
Love.
The only love I like.
Okay. She marries, he is in love with an Ashkenazi woman, and he's from a Sephardic family. So back then it was a big deal.
Big no.
So then there's that's going on. But wonderful book, and the book itself is very short read, doesn't take very long to read, but it does go on a different trajectory. In the book, they're looking more at the main character's daughter and her struggles and what she's going through. And really her main struggle is that she falls in with a young man who lives next door, and his name is David. He goes off to the war, but he falls in with a young Italian girl.
Oh.
And he comes back, he went to Italy.
He
Comes back, and she's still on his mind. She never really leaves his mind. His wife knows this. And ultimately, she is caught in a bombing in Jerusalem.
Wow.
And she meets a gentleman whose body is basically broken, but he has a wonderful spirit, in the hospital, and the two of them end up having an affair. And
wow.
So they both pretty much stepped out on the marriage.
History, romance, you got it all.
All together. He pretty much stepped out on the marriage, and she did too. So there's a lot going on.
Well, that sums up. We have a lot going on with our list. We're going to be coming back very soon. We got giveaways. We're going to restaurants. Mm-hmm. We're just getting going. We're figuring things out as we go, and it's going to be a magical journey, a magical ride.
Yes.
And stick around.
Yes, if you have comments or you have questions, please write below. Please contact us. You'll also be able to see us on Patreon and on X, and we also have another account. We have Patreon, X, and what's the other one?
Facebook.
Instagram.
Yes.
We have Instagram now. So I believe that we did post those below,
Okay,
and you
so
should be able to see us.
peace out, homies.
Bye. Thank you.